I do think, though, that in terms of the analytic tradition, as you know, there was something of a renaissance of Christian philosophy of religion in the last 60 years. Alvin Plantinga, Richard Swinburne, Eleanor Stump, William Lane Craig's the big popularizer. I do think, though, there's a lot to be said for the work they've done, and they can at least present the Christian faith in a way that connects with the sort of Lindsay Boghossian outlook. Now, I put it to Pete last week, and he was like, "Yeah, I just don't think their arguments are good." But I mean, their arguments are being taken seriously by really top analytic philosophers, ones who aren't even theists.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm not a big fan of that type of argumentation, but it's also because I really come from a more mystical tradition. Orthodoxy, I think, I have a beauty first approach, let's say, to the question.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I'm closer to the cognitive psychologists, let's say, in terms of a phenomenological point of view. The idea that there are certain ways in which reality, lays itself out to us that have this dance, right? That have this pattern in it, and we can't ignore it because it is the structure of our experience. So I tend to go there more to kind of outlay the structure of our experience and show how it is captured in the let's say the liturgical life of the church, in the aiming towards mystery, right? This idea of that there's something hidden behind the veil that is making everything exist, and you can't completely capture it, right? It eludes our capacity to analyze it. Anyway, so that's been my approach, but I'm happy that if that type of argumentation can help some people.
I got that. I think the final point is, because we always have this problem with false teachers and false prophets. I mean, my own history is a complicated one. As a teenager, I was mentored by a guy who claimed to be a prophet, and he turned out to be a sociopath. He was exposed 2 years ago when he stole a church worth $60 million and blamed it on the Holy Spirit, and it was in the newspapers and everything. But so I've seen these guys that appeal to mystery, and of course, this guy appeals even now. He's appealing to the Holy Spirit as to why he nicked this church. And I think one thing that we can do with reason, and one of the reasons I've benefited from being trained in the analytic tradition, even though I'm very aware of its weakness, the sort of McGilchrist-like weaknesses, is that you can spot the BS.
Yeah,
basically.
Well, you definitely need to spot the BS. Like that's one of the reasons for tradition. Tradition is there to help you also, let's say, spot the BS, because there's a manner in which the people that say they're prophets, they can't just fly off the handle. Like, they can't just do whatever they want, because they have to be bound in a certain way of being in a certain tradition. And so tradition helps to prevent that kind of stuff. There's a method of discernment, let's say. Let's say I'm not Catholic, but in the Catholic Church, for example, they actually have quite a method of discernment to be able to know if someone's visions are legitimate. And I think it's a little even too, like, let's say, rigorous, but it's pretty rigorous. If you want to have some kind of recognition to someone who has visions, they'll like send someone to study you for months. And like they'll ask you all the questions, and they'll try to figure out what intentions you have and what it is that's motivating you, and they can try to discern the spirits, let's say. But you're right that for sure the world of religion has always been a world of bullshit. Like, there's no way around that. But the question is, this is the problem again with the whole thing. It's like the world of religion has always been available to those who want to trick others and use bullshit. But so then what? So now you just cast it aside. You just say that because some people use mystery to trick people, therefore there is no mystery. Or because some people are dishonest in their religious approach and they use people's desire to follow, for example, to deceive them and use that to make money or to get sexual favors or whatever. you're not going to get rid of people's desire to follow. And so either they follow the stupid, idiotic guru, or they follow Taylor Swift, or they follow like whatever nonsense on TikTok. So what are they going to follow? And that's again, it's like, that's one of the blind spots again, is to say, well, if people could just be reasonable like me, then we would have no problems. But that's just not how it is.
Yeah, it's throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah, so you have holy oils coming from saints that are recognized as being virtuous and true to the transcendent, and people take them and they sometimes use them in ways that may be a little superstitious. That's possible. You have that, or you have like the New Age shop and people go and get crystals and we don't know what it's related to. Like it has no connection to the rest of our engagement with reality. Anyways, I know that might sound like I'm being cynical, but I'm not being cynical. I'm actually seeing that people need these markers of participation. They just need them.
Yeah. And I believe you're Orthodox, so you have that sense of tradition. I think the problem is in a lot of the non-dom Protestant churches, they just don't have a sense of tradition. They've got the Apostles' Creed and whatever, but after that, it's just the Bible, and there is no sort of inherited wisdom.